तो आवाज आ रहा है? हेलो। फिर ऐसे पकड़ के ही बोलना पड़ेगा कि इसमें नीचे तो कहाँ आएगा, यहाँ यहाँ तक कि ऐसे ही थोड़ा बोलूँगा। हेलो हेलो ऐसे यहाँ तो- ठीक है, आवाज आ रही है ना? पेन दे दो, पेन और वो लगा दो। हेलो एंड गुड हेलो एंड गुड मॉर्निंग। Oh, sorry, good afternoon. Finally, we have that central mic, or I think its voice is very good, but irritating or something. No? What was the last question? Okay, I'm reading the question again. If somebody was not present in the class, so they can write the question. In an election between two candidates, in an election between two candidates, 25%, or this is 75. Okay. In an election between two candidates, 75% of the voters cast their votes, out of which 2% votes were declared invalid. Full stop. A candidate got 9,261 votes, which were 75% of the valid votes. Then find the total number of voters enrolled in that election. That was the question. Okay. Okay, let's do the question. So, am I audible now? It is in the speakers or okay? आ जाओ. Okay, let's understand this question first of all. What is first of all, make a star on this. Now you are doing the quality questions of that election, and election is one of the most important topics of percentage. Okay. In an election, there are two candidates. So how many candidates were there? Two candidates, and 75% of the voters cast their votes. Means let the total number of voters. Understand the question. Let total X. Any problem in this? Leave your copy and pen. Don't write anything. Try to understand, because if you understand this thing, then it will be very easy. But if you don't understand, try to cram it, and it will be very difficult for you. If okay, the total number of voters are X. Out of this X, 75% of the voters cast their vote. It means I can say that out of this X, 75% voting was done. Voting was done. How much percent? 75%. Okay. Out of which 2% votes were declared invalid. Out of this voting, percent votes were declared invalid. If 2% votes of this is invalid, how many percentage or how much percentage? 100 minus 2, that is 98%. That is 98%. Or I can say very easily that out of the voting, 98% were the valid votes. So I can write it like valid vote. Any problem in this? I am making you understand again, but to understand this thing now, it will be very easy to crack the of that election. Total number of voters in these elections are X. Out of that X, 75% done voting. So we have that 75% of X that was voting only. Okay. Of this voting, 2% votes were declared invalid. So if we remove that 2 percentage, we have 98% part, and of this voting, 98% votes were valid. So we have written it like valid votes from here to. Any problem in this? Okay, read the next information. A candidate got 9,261 votes, which were 75% of the valid votes. So now these are valid votes, and a candidate who is the winner also scored 75% of the vote, 75% of the valid votes, and he secured 9,000. This is the equation. After that, if we have arranged the data, then we have to do the calculation only. Good. Understood or not? Repeating, don't worry, because this is very important to understand. First of all, read the question by yourself. I'm reading. Read it along with me. In an election between two candidates, 75% of the voters cast their vote, out of which 2% votes were declared invalid. A candidate got 9,261 votes, which was 75% of the valid votes. Find the total number of the voters enrolled in that election. So, if we let the total number of voters as X, out of this X, look at the board. Out of this X, 75% voters they went for voting. So I can say the voting was done only 75%. Any problem? Out of this voting, 2% votes were declared invalid. So if we remove that invalid part, we have 100 minus 2, that is 98% votes of the voting was valid. So I can write it like 98% of the voting. 98% of the voting was valid votes. There were only two candidates, and one candidate is securing 75% of the valid votes. So till here we have that valid votes value, and the candidate who is winner is securing 75% of the valid votes, and he is securing 9,000. Or I can say that 75% of the valid votes is 9,261. Any problem? Write this thing and put it in a box. The next step is to do the calculation. If you have written it and do the calculation, write the whole thing after that box and start doing calculation and find the value of X. Put that thing in the box. Don't do calculation in it in the box. Take a box like do the calculation. Let's do the calculation. This is 55 by 4 by 4 9 by 50. Okay. Now we have this 3 by 4 by 4 and 3. And we know that 3 into 3 is 9. Add the digit of the number 9 to 7 plus 6 plus 1 18. 18 is divisible by 9. So the whole number will be divisible by. It is the divisibility rule of divisibility rule 9. If you want to write it, then write in a separate column or NOTE. Divisibility rule of 9. Divisibility rule 9. We add the write the line. If we add the digits of a number, if we add the digits of a number and the sum of the digits are divisible by 9 by 9, then the whole number will be divisible by 9. This is the divisibility rule of 9. 3 into 3 9 and 2 and 9. Now we have 49 7 7 1 and we have 1 7 more. Let's check the number in the denominator. 4 50 and 4 16 into 5, that is 80. In 80 the value of X or the total number of the voters in the voting list was 60. What was the number? 15,800. Any problem in this? Okay, if we first of all write this thing, then I'm asking 2 or 3 questions, different questions. He can ask you. Find the first question. Find the number of valid votes. Find the number of valid votes. First question. Give me the answer. Hurry up. Find the number of valid votes. You have to find the number of valid votes. What is the answer? You don't have to use the calculators, because calculators are not allowed in the. Find the number of the valid votes. It's done. But okay, look at the board then. Now we have to find out the number of the valid votes. First of all, you know it very well that valid votes are from here only. Okay, that 75% has nothing to do with that value. We have value of X now. The X is 1800. Writing it fraction directly, 75 is 3 by 4 and this is 39 by 50. These are valid votes. Calculate, get the valid votes. This chart will help you to find out each and every value, because he can ask any of the values in the exam. That's why we are making it. To see 1 or 2 videos on YouTube, they are giving you like 100 and then 65, and out of this, because that we can change the question. And in previous years, like 2021, 2022, and 2023, in those years he had changed the, okay. So what is the value, or what is the value, or what is the number of that valid votes? Hurry up. 5, 4. So both of you are getting different numbers. 14800. Are you getting the same answer? Calculate the numbers. 5, 4. Multiply 84 into 3 into 12348 is the, this is 12,308. Okay, one more question in that. Find the find the number of voters who cast their votes. Find the number of voters who cast their vote. It means number of voters who just went there and voted. Hurry up. Find the number of the voters who cast their vote. Hurry up. It means indirectly we have to find out the voting. We have to find out the voting, and for voting we need this value. We have to find out the 75 percentage of x. 16,800, and we have to find out 3 by 4 of it. 4, 2, 3, or 6, 2. So 12,600 is the answer. Okay. Any problem in this? He can ask you different questions. This chart will help you to find out the answer. Any problem in this? Write the next question. In next question, I will ask you 2 or 3 questions in single question. So first of all, your main first step will be to arrange the data like this. Okay, and the next step is of the calculation. Calculation will be very easy once you arrange the data. Write the question. In an election between two candidates, in an election between two candidates, in an election between two candidates, 10% of the voters did not cast their votes. 10% of the voters did not cast their votes. Out of which 20% votes were declared in out of which 20% votes were declared invalid. If winner got if winner got 75% of the valid votes, if winner got 75% of the valid votes and won by 7200 votes and won by 7200 votes, Then find the total number of the voters in the voting list. Find the total number of the voters in the voting list. Hurry up. Done? Done? What is the answer? Find the total number of invalid. If somebody has the answer, then find out the total number of invalid votes. Second question in this. Third question, find the number of the valid votes. There are two questions to find out. After doing the question, find the number of the valid votes and find the number of the invalid votes. Is the measure not equal to 20? What can be? Okay, look at the board. Stay relaxed. I think you guys are overburdened. Stay relaxed. First of all, the topic is on hype always. Election, election, and election. And nowadays there are elections in Haryana and stay relaxed. Okay, let's understand this concept once again. It is very simple. First, in an election, I'm reading the question. In an election between two candidates, 10% of the voters did not cast their votes. Let the total number of the voters be X. So, the total number of voters out of this, 10% of the voters did not cast their 10% voters did not cast their vote. But how many voters cast their 100 minus 10? So I can write like 100 minus 10 will be 90%. I can say that voting was done. 90% voting was done of the total voters. 90% of the voting was done. Any problem in this? Okay, let's read the further information. Out of which 20% votes were declared invalid. Out of this voting, 20% votes were declared invalid. If I remove that invalid part, I will get the valid one. 100 minus 20 will be 80%, or I can say 80% of the voting was valid. I can say that 80% of the voting that was valid. Any problem in this? Now come to the point and read this line very carefully. The winner got 75% of the valid votes and won by 7200 votes. Won by is what? At won by. I told you in the beginning of the concept that won by is nothing but majority. Or you can say it margin. And what is margin? Margin is the difference between winner and loser. Know it very well. I told you the beginning of the that election. And what is margin? What is majority or what is won by? It is the difference between the winner and the loser. It means that 7200 is given in the question. It is what? It is majority or the margin. And how we can get that margin? If we minus the loser vote from the winner's one. Any problem in this? Okay, winner is securing 75% of the valid votes. Winner is 65% of the valid votes. There are total 100% valid votes. Out of this, 75 is with winner. So loser is securing 100 minus 75, that is 25. Okay, and what will be the margin? 75 minus 25. This is the margin now. Problem. And this margin equals to, that's it. That was the change in the question. Almost 50 to 60% of you has done like 75% equals to. But thing is that 7200 is the value of the margin or the majority, and the majority is very simple. In very simple terms, it is the difference between the votes secured by the winner and the votes secured by the. Any problem in this? So out of that 100% valid votes, winner secured 75 and the loser secured the rest one. That 100 minus 75 is 25. If I take the difference of these two, 75 minus 25 upon 100, and this value equals to 7200. The next step is of doing calculation. Just put it in the box again. It will help you. Okay, done. Let's do the calculation. This 50%, the fraction of this percent will be 1 by 2, 4 by 5, and this 72 is divisible by 9, 9 into 36 into 2 zeros. In denominator we have 5 and that is 10, and 1 0 is here. 100 now, we have to multiply it by 100. The value of X or the total number of voters in voting is 20. Everybody has his own style or method of doing calculation, but this is the very first chapter. I will tell you how to do the calculation in an easy way. Just try to get the approach. Got it? Any problem? So the next question was of you have to find out the valid votes and invalid votes in this question only. What is the answer? Anybody got the answer for valid votes and invalid votes? Now you have the value of X. You can find it very in less time. So tell me the number of the valid votes. 1,400. And number of invalid votes. Number of invalid votes. You are getting the same number. 15,400. Invalid votes. 600. Okay, look at look at the board. Now we have to find out the valid votes. Valid votes are from here to here. The valid votes. So we have the value of x now. Value of x is 20,000. And this is 9 by 10, and these are our valid votes. Any problem in this? 0,054, and 16 into 9, that is 144, and double. I say 14,400 are the valid votes. First. Second thing, now we have to find out invalid votes. Invalid votes are very simple. That these are valid votes. 20,000 to 9 by 10. That was voting done. And out of this voting, 20% were invalid votes. So I can find out 20% directly of invalid. Cut the values. If answer is any problem, you have to be very quick finding questions, and this chart will help you find out the answer. At the next question. In an election between two candidates, 30% of the voters did not cast their votes. 30% of the voters did not cast their votes. Out of which 10% votes were declared invalid. Out of which 10% votes were declared invalid. If winner got 65% of the valid votes, if winner got 65% of the valid votes and won by 56,700 votes, and won by 56,700 votes, then find the total number of the valid votes. And find the total number of the valid votes. Hurry up. Done. What is the answer? What is the answer? Votes cannot be divided. It means votes cannot be in the decimals. None of you is getting the answer. Yes. But find the total number of the valid votes. That is not valid. Total number. Good. Look at the board. In this question, he has changed the question. And he has changed the question directly. Read the last line of the question. Find the find the total number of the valid votes. Find the total number of the valid votes. And in the options, he has 3 lakh also. Because the 3 lakh is the total number of the voters in the voting list. Just try to understand the question. Don't try to cram the question. Please. Not help you. We will change the question. You have to change your methods also. Let's approach the question one by one. In an election between two candidates, 30% of the voters did not cast their vote. The total number of the voters are X, or the total number of the voters in the voting list was X. Out of this X, 30% of the voters did not cast their votes. If we remove that 30%, it means voting was done 100 minus 30, that is 70%. We can say that 70% of X they did the voting. Any problem? Problem in this? Okay, the next thing is out of which 10% votes were declared invalid. It means out of the voting, 10% votes were declared invalid. So 100 minus 10, that is 90% of the voting was valid or not? Good. You for the any problem in this? Okay, the next information is about that winner got 65% of the valid votes and he won by 56,700. So 56,700 is the margin. Is the margin, and the margin is the difference between winner and the loser. So if winner is securing 65% of the valid votes, loser is securing 100 minus 65, that is 65. So difference between the winner and the loser is the margin only. So this is the margin now, and the margin is 56,000. This is the arrangement according to the question. Any problem in this? Okay, now let's do the question. Yeah. 30 e by n. Cut it by 7, 9, 7 into this x equals to 5 zeros are there. The total number of the voters in the voting list was 3 lakh. Total number of the voters in the voting list was 3 lakh. Okay. But that was not your question. He has asked us for the total number of the valid votes. Now we have to find out the total number of the valid votes. And you know it very well that valid votes are from here to here, from here to here only. So let's Take that x value 3 lakh of this 7 by 10 and 9 by 10. Valid vote. Any problem? 9 into 7 is 3 and 63 into 3 is 1. Count the zeros. 3 zeros. We can say that 1,89,000 was valid vote. 1,89,000 for the valid vote. Okay. That was the question valid votes. And the next question was of invalid votes. Invalid votes. Okay. We know it very well that out of this voting, 10% was invalid votes. So let's take this number 3 lakh 7 by 10. This was voting, and of this voting 10% was valid. Let's take percent 7 into 1. Count the zeros now. 2,10,000 was no 21,000. Okay, problem. This was your question. I don't think so there is any kind of problem in this. And this chart will help you a lot. I'm telling you again and again. So just try to do the questions by this one. Okay. Let's move to the next question. Shall we? Okay. In an election between two candidates, in an election between two candidates, 30% voters did not cast their vote. 30% voters cast their votes. 300 votes were declared invalid. 300 votes were declared invalid. The winner got 70% of the valid votes, and the winner got 70% of the valid votes, and won by 2400 votes, and won by 2400 votes. In this question you have three questions. I'm writing the questions. First question, you have to write it like find, then first question like A, B and C. Number of voters, voting. Second question, number of votes polled. Third question, of valid. Yep. Three questions are there. Number of voters in the voting list, number of votes polled, and number of valid votes. 9,000, Mr. Prime, very good. In an election, in an election between two candidates, 30% of the voters did not cast their votes. 300 votes were declared invalid, and the winner got 70% of the valid votes and won by 2400 votes. I've repeated it. What is the timing of 1.5 hours? 1.5. Done? This 300, that 300 in this question. Look at that 300. 300 is not the percentage, first of all. He has given you the exact number. Exact number is given, and that exact number of invalid votes is 300. But in the previous questions, you were getting the percentage for the invalid votes. But there is use of scientific calculation, because the calculation is very easy. Why you are multiplying that 300 here? Why everybody is multiplying that 300? Why? And first of all, if you are considering that 300 as percentage, so the fraction must be like 300 upon 100, so you have to multiply it by 3 only. You're taking it as percentage. I'm talking about your point of view. Look at the board. Just stay relaxed and look at the board. First of all, you're not getting the question. He has given us the exact figure. He has given us the exact number. What was the question? In an election, two candidates participated. 30% of the voters did not cast their. It means out of that X, 30% did not cast their vote. It means 70% of voting was done. Any problem in this? Now the next is 300 votes were declared invalid and everybody was stuck. Everybody was trying to do the things or arrange the things according to them, and they were multiplying it. So there is no need. See, that voting was done. Out of this, 300 votes were declared invalid. If I remove, I minus from voting, I have minused invalid votes. What I'm getting? Valid votes. Simple, isn't it? Now these are valid votes. Any problem in this? It is very simple. In the previous one, you were doing the same thing, but the data was in the percentage. Just try to understand the previous one, that 2% votes were declared invalid. So you remove that 100 minus 2, then you did that 98. In one of the questions, it was 10%. So 100 minus 10. So you removed that 10. And after that, you got that 90%. Look at that previous question. Go to the previous question. Don't worry. I will make you understand. Isn't it? It is happening or not? You have removed the 10% part. Now we are removing the number because we have the number directly. We have the exact number. That is 300. Any problem? So we have come to the valid vote section. Let's read the information again. And the winner got 70% of the valid votes and won by 2400 votes. That won by is the margin only. We have to take the difference between the winner and the user. So it will be like 70 minus 30 upon 100. This is the margin, and what is the margin in the question? That is 24. Any problem in this? Now you have to do the calculation. This is the arrangement of the data for this question. Put it in a box and do the calculation under the box and start doing calculation. And you have to find out three values in this: number of voters in the voting list, number of votes polled, and number of the valid votes. Hurry up. Got it now? Got it now? What you did? Votes are valid, but one has vote for that. So voting will decide whether these votes are valid or given correctly. Got my point? Getting values or not? I know it very well. Now you guys are facing problem in solving this or in calculating this, isn't it? Oh, very. That's why I put the bracket there. Okay, look at the board again. This, this is the third or the fourth time single question. But don't worry. To do the calculation for this question, we have to go step by step. First of all, we will solve this part with this, and the value will be of what? The value will be of the valid vote. Because from here to here, we are getting valid votes. So this is 70 minus 30, 40 by 100. Or I can write like 2 by 5, but that part 1200 and 5 will be there. So the number of valid votes will be 1200 into 5. That is, you are getting first answer as that 6000. The number of valid votes were. Any problem in this? Do you have any kind of problem in this? Okay then. Now this bracket has been removed. So this 300 is minus here. If I take that 300 there, it will be plus. So from here to here, the value is of voting. So I can say voting was what? 6000 plus 300. So the voting was 6300. Any problem? So now we have that voting done. And voting was done. What is the number? 6300. So we have to find out the value of x now. And it is very simple. How? X 70%. This is voting, and voting was what? 6300. Do the calculation. 7 into 9. So the total number of the voters in the voting list was 1000. So you have to do the calculation step by step by opening the brackets. It will be very easy to do that. And if you're cutting this 0 by this 0, it cannot be possible because there is minus here. Getting the things, I'm asking to you guys, if you have any kind of problem, then I will repeat. But don't take the doubts along with you because they will make a problem in the upcoming parts. Got it? So we had we had three questions in that. So let's talk about the answers now. Number of voters in the voting list. What is the answer? First question. Number of the voters in the voting list. What is the answer? Arey, we have answers. What is the answer? 9000. Very good. Number of votes polled. Number of votes polled. What is the answer? 6300. Because out of that 300 was invalid, but polled. It was polled. Arey, after polling, it can be decided na whether the vote is valid or invalid. And number of valid votes 6000. Okay. Any problem in this? Okay, then write this thing and write the next question. Write the next question. In an election, in an election, 10% of the voters did not cast their votes. 10% of the voters did not cast their votes. And 60 votes declared invalid. 60, 60. 60 votes declared invalid. There were only two candidates. There were only two candidates, and winner was supported. Winner was supported 47%. 47% of all the voters in the voting list. 47% of all the voters in the voting list. He got he got 308 vote. He got 308 votes more than his rival. More than his rival. Rival is that competitor. Rival. Full stop. Find the number of the voters in voting list. Find the number of the voters in the voting list. Please underline this line. See your question. Underline this line. Uh, Winner was supported. Underline this line. Winner was supported by 47% of all the voters in the voting list. Now try to do the question. Done? This question is somewhat different from the previous one. And where is the change in the question? Change is very simple, that winner is supported directly 47%. Directly 47% from the voter list. It means the number of voters, they have supported him directly. And in the previous one, there was the percentage of the valid votes. Okay, stay relaxed. This is the last one. The election will be over. I know that now election is very heavy. And I told you that this is the most important topic, and it must be like that, because if somebody is getting that kind of hype and respect, so it deserves respect. Okay, look at the board. Look at the board. Don't worry. This is second last, and then we will have the last question and the last laugh also. Good. In this question, in an election, 10% of the voters did not cast their votes and 60 votes were declared invalid. Let's take get a total number of votes. Why 100x here and why x in the previous question? There must be some kind of these type of questions in your mind that he took that X and he is taking 100x now. So I am taking 100x just because the winner was supported 47% directly from the voter list. So number of voters in the voting list was 100x. So I just don't want to get into the fractions. I take that 47% of the x, it will be a fraction like 0.47x. So I don't want to take the fractions. That's why I have taken that 100x. Look at the board again. And out of this, 10% of the voters, 10% of the voters did not cast their vote. It means the voting was done. Voting was done. 90% of this, you can write 90x. Find that 90 or 100x, you will get 90x. Okay, winner is the winner, and winner was supported directly from the voters from the voting list, and the voter in the voting list is 100x, and he was supported or he supported by 47 for the voters. He is securing 7x vote. Any problem in this? If you have any kind of problem, then you can. Okay, let's move to the next information. So this is voting, and if I ask for that valid votes, because there is information about that invalid votes, that 60 votes were declared invalid. So 60 votes were declared invalid out of this voting 90x. If I remove that 60, then we will have that valid votes or not. Any problem in this? Okay, let's understand it again. Okay, no. Total number of the voters, that is 100x. Out of this, 10% voters did not cast their vote. It means 90% cast their vote. So the voting was done 90x. Let's move to this part again. That valid votes, after remove 60 votes were declared invalid. If I remove that 60 from the voting, then I will have that value of valid votes 90x minus 3. Any problem? And let's talk about the winner now. Winner is securing 47% of the voter list directly. It means 100x, 47% of that 100x, and he is securing 47x. Any problem in this data? Okay, then let's move to the next information. So what is the margin? Margin is the difference between the winner and the loser. We have to find out the votes secured by the loser also. So we have valid votes like 90x minus 60, and out of that 90x minus 60, 47x is secured by whom? Winner. Very good. And if I take the difference of these two, then I will get the votes of whom? Loser. Very good. So that 90x minus 1x. 90x minus 46x will give you what? 43x minus 60. That 43x minus 60, the votes secured by whom? The loser. Let's find out the margin. In your exam, you don't have to do like this. I will tell you a shortcut. But to learn that shortcut, you have to understand this. Because it is not possible to do the questions with this way. You will have very less time in that. And you don't have to waste your energy on a single question. You have to understand this to learn that shortcut or that short trick. Okay. So what will be the margin? Margin is the difference between winner and loser. The winner is securing 47x and the vote secured by loser is 43 minus 6. So it is 47 minus 43, that is 4x, and that minus minus. Okay. Any problem in this? So this is the margin. Now we have the margin, and the margin is 2400 or what? 308 na. 4x plus 3 equals to 308. For x 308 minus 6, 8 and 2 4 8, cancel it out. X value is 2, and we have to find out the number of the voters in the voting list, and this value is 100x. Answer is answer with the basic approach. With the basic approach. First of all, write this basic approach in your notes. It is necessary. Write this one. Please write this one. I know that you guys are waiting for the short trick and you just don't want to write it, but please write. And I will tell you the short trick. Everything is understood by you. Okay. Now let's do the question in a different way and in 3 or 4 steps. But you will be understood after doing this. Okay then. Now try to understand easy. Number of voters. These are number of voters. Out of this, 10% did not cast their vote. So 90x they cast their votes. Or if I talk about the valid votes, I remove that 60, 90 minus 60. So I can say this voters and these are what? Valid votes. Any problem in this? So let's talk about that winner and loser. So the winner is securing directly from the voter list. So I can write like 47. And out of this 90x, that 47 secured by whom? Winner. Rest of the votes were secured by whom? This is these are the votes secured by the loser one. And if we talk about that margin will be the difference and the loser, that 47 minus it will be any problem in no problem at all. Okay then. Now we have taken the difference of these two and we have to take the difference of these. Value of x is the answer for the voters. We done like this within 15 to 20 seconds. But just to make you understand in a very short time, we have to understand that particular. Now you can understand it directly. And after writing this, we will have the last question of election and last question of this class also. And I'm very hopeful that you will give the answer because that question is very similar and identical. And you have to try that particular question by this approach only, the second one. Okay? Are give me any response? I don't know why sometimes I just think that I'm in the class of the robots because you guys don't give any kind of response. If you, if I get to know that whether you are understanding, I will make it. If you are not understanding, then I will try some different ways to, I might by different methods or something. No, okay. Finally, the election is over. So this is the last question. Write the question. In an election between two candidates, in an election between two candidates, 30% of the voters did not vote. 30% of the voters did not vote, and 1400 votes were declared invalid. And 1400 votes were declared invalid. And winner won by 3000 votes. And winner won by 1000 votes. Stop. If the winner got 37% of the voter list, if the winner got 37% of the voter list, then find the total number of the voters in the vote. Then find the total number of the voters in the voting list. Today I will send this PDF in the group, okay, so that you will have the questions of percentage. Done? What is the answer? You guys were nodding the neck. I thought that you have the answer. Hurry up. Do the question with the same approach. Yes. Anything left? Find the total number of the voters in the voting list. I'm repeating the question. In an, in an election, there are two candidates. 30% of the voters did not vote, and 1400 votes were declared invalid. Winner won by 3000 votes. If the winner got 37% of the voter list, find the number of the voters in the voting list. So, in descriptive part, that next step 4x plus 6. Next step we are taking the difference of 308 and 640. You have taken the next step. Write it like, don't, don't get it in 4x plus 60 equals to 308. In the next step we are taking, find the answer. Yes, done. Done or not? Okay, I'm keeping the same page. Don't worry. Look at the board. The part that is in the green. The part that is in the green. This one. This is the most important part of the question. First of all, read the question. We have to take that 100x and underline this line again. Winner got 37% of the voter list. Underline this line. If you find this line, then you have to do the question by this approach only. If you don't find this line, then you have to do the question with the previous one. Okay, 100x. Out of that, 30% voters did not cast their vote. It means 70x was the voting. Out of this 70x, 37% votes. It means 37% directly at 37x, and 37x was secured by the winner. So the difference of these two was secured by whom? Loser won. 70x minus 37x is 33x. So the difference between the winner and the loser will give us the margin. Okay. If we have taken the difference of these two, we have to take the difference of these two also. It means authority and the invalid. 4x equals to 1500, x equals to 400. So what is the answer? 40,000. What is the answer? 40,000. Okay, done. Okay, this is for today. Thank you. नहीं का आवाज ना करे ना ये. Hello everyone, shall we start the class? Which topic we were doing? Tell me fast, which topic was going on? Conditional sentences, okay? Okay. The class 1 has taught to you by me, right? In the class 1, I just taught you what is a conditional sentence, which has if clause or main clause is known as conditional sentences. How many rules have I taught in the class? How many? Three rules. Three rules have been taught to you in the class. It's not visible, I guess. Is it visible from there? Not so. Maybe I in the rule number 1 I just taught you, if your sentence starts with if, need to use subject, then V1 or V5 will be used, which means present indefinite tense. But in the main clause, will or shall can be used. Will or shall plus V1 can be used, as this is your future indefinite tense. As I taught you in the last class, if does not like three words: will, shall, or would. So we never use future indefinite tense with if clause. I just taught you, if the sentence is in conditional sentence, then this section will be your if clause, and the remaining one will be your main clause. This will be your main clause. First of all, show me your copy first so that I can figure out what did I teach you in the last class. Rule number 1, okay. Rule number 2, both the cases present will be used. Rule number 3 was imaginary sentence, okay. So in this point of view, if clause means if the sentence starts with if, this is known as what? If clause. Like the question number 1 of rule number 1 is, if you will work hard, you will work hard, you will surely, you will surely get a government job, will surely get a government job. Now you need to find the error part here. What is the error part? Tell me fast. We never use two wills, two shells, or two words in a sentence. If you are using the sentence is incorrect. Which will be removed? First one or second one? First one. With if, right? You need to focus on the word if. If is a conjunction, then we don't have to use will or shall or would with if. The sentence is correct now. If you work hard, you will surely get a government job, right? So this was your rule number 1. In the rule number 2, I just taught you rule number 2. If your sentence starts with if, then subject you will use, or V1 or V5 will be used as usual you use. Then in the main clause, subject plus V1 or V5 can be used.
Means in the both the cases, in both the clauses, whether this is your if clause or main clause, present or the second point of view, present can be used. Where you have seen in the first structure, this is your present tense, but this is your future tense. So any sentence starts with if, you can use present then future, or you can use present or present, but you can't use future and future. This will not be the correct combination of a conditional sentence. Present or future can be used, present or present can be used, future or future can never be used, right? Let me give you the example and we're gonna move on. Question number 1 is, if you boil water, if you boil water, it turns to vapor. The sentence is so simple, like present and present. In both the cases, I have used present here and present here as well. Turns is nothing but V5. As I have told you so many times, V5 is nothing but the combination of V1 plus S, ES or IES. This is known as V5. So this can be made, right? Next, type number 3 means rule number 3. I just taught you the last class. If your sentence starts with if, then you will use subject. Then you need to use were at any cost. Whether your subject is I, we, you, they, he, she, it, name. And the remaining sentence means in the main clause you need to use would plus V1. And this is your imaginary sentence or suppositional sentence. Imaginary or suppositional sentence. Positional sentence. Right? One question of this is, if she were the queen of this palace or kingdom, we can say, if she were the queen of this palace or the kingdom, she would help she would help the poor. She would help the poor. This sentence has no error. Why? Because if your sentence starts with if, you are using any subject like I, we, you, they, he, she, name, but you need to use were instead of using was. We don't have to use was here. Even as everyone knows, we usually use was with he, she, it, or name or I. But in this case, we need to go for were. That's after that, this sentence will becomes your imaginary or suppositional sentence. Now we're gonna move on to the rule number 4, which is very important to learn, right? Shall we? Rule number 4, note down rule number 4. Again, your sentence starts with if, then you have to use subject, then had plus V3 in the main clause will be used, had plus V3. But in the, sorry, in if clause, in the main clause, you need to use subject plus would have plus V3. And this is very, very, very important. If your sentence starts with if, then you have to use had plus V3, the if clause. But in the main clause, would have plus V3 will be used. And this is the sentence of where you feel regret. When you feel regret, or any work is undone. Any work is undone. So this is also in the past sentence, right? So the first question is question number 1. If she had told me the truth earlier, if she had told me the truth earlier, I would help her. I would help her. If she could have, she had told me the truth earlier, I would help her. This is your A option, B option, C option. Last is no error. Question number 2 is question number 2. If you have if you have phoned me, if you have phoned me on that day, on that day, I would have I would have arranged money for you. Money for if you had studied hard, you you should pass in the exams. Pass in the exams. Question number 4 is if I had a house, I had a house, I would have given it to you. Given it to you. This is your A option. This question has been asked in banking examination. This question has been asked in banking examination. A option, B option, C or D. Question number 5 is she would have succeeded in achieving her goals. She would have succeeded in achieving her goals if she would labor hard. Labor hard. Very good. Just keep on answering yourself. Question number 1. Do you find any error? Yes, we have. The rule will be followed. Rule number 4 says if your sentence starts with if, you need to use had plus V3. If you are using had plus V3, then would have plus V3 will be used. The question number 1, she had told me the truth earlier. Okay, if she had told me the truth earlier, which she did not, right? Which she did not. Now she is regretting. If she had, the sentence has started with if, had plus V3 is coming. But in the main clause, the option number C, you find the error part. We have to use would have or helped. This one is the right answer. If she had told me the truth earlier, I would have helped her. It must be the right answer. Why? Because in the main clause, would then have plus V3 must be used by you. Question number 2 is correct or not? Sentence number 2 is correct or not? Why? Because if is correct, subject is correct, not have. It must have been. But in the main clause, would have arranged is right. If you had phoned me on that day, which you did not, and I could not arrange the money for you, right? This remaining sentence is correct. Because, as everyone knows in the class, has or have are the present words which relate to, present. Whereas, would means the past of will is called would. So if your sentence is in past, then you need to make all the sentences into past. Question number 3 is, if you had studied hard, you should pass in the exams. Again, had plus V3 is coming, then here would have passed must be the right answer. Note down. If you had studied hard, you would have passed in the exams. Question number 4 is, if I had a house, I would have given it to you. Very good question. This question has been asked in banking examination. Do you find any error, or the sentence has no error? If you have no error, means your answer will be D option. No error. I need to say but. Here is an error. Anyone in the class? What? Given. Why? The V3. Tell me. I would have had. Why you are using that? I have used would have plus V3. The sentence has error in the part A. You were so close. Now come to this point of view. As I taught you, if your sentence starts with if, subject will be used. प्रॉब्लम यहाँ तो ये देखो ना आ तो रहा है. Tell me the right answer. Now, if I had a house, now come to this point of view. You have used if, subject I, had. Now come to this point. Where has V3 gone? Where has V3? Then you need to use again had here. The answer must be if I had had a house. Why? Now come to this point of view. As everyone knows, this is your helping verb, right? And if you're talking about this point of view, this is the third form of have. This is the third form of have. Because in the main clause, would have plus V3 has already been given over there, right? So the answer is twice had will be used. Question number 5, come to this point of view. She would have succeeded in achieving her goals if she would labor hard. We can't use would twice in a sentence, in a conditional sentence. If is coming here, it has to be removed. Answer will be if she had labored. Why? If clause has been written at the end of a sentence, the remaining sentence is correct. Yes, getting my point? Just wait for a while. It's happening. Come to the next point of view. I just taught you if your sentence starts with if, you need to use subject, then had plus V3, right? No doubt you have. In the main clause, you need to use subject, then what? Would plus have plus V3, which I have already taught you in the class. Now come to this point of view. Do you know you can easily make this sentence by using what? Inversion in a sentence. You can use inversion in this, and the inversion will be asked in your examination. Inversion will be asked or is asked in your examination. What it is all about, inversion, let me tell you. If I just write down a sentence for you, a cat was sitting under the table. Under the table. Now come to this point of view. As everyone knows, this is a simple structure of a sentence. This is your subject, this is your verb, and this is your adverb, not object. So as everyone has heard, we're gonna make the sentence, or we're gonna start any sentence with subject, then we use verb, or we can use object. If there is no object, then the sentence is correct. But now come to this point of view. Do you know this sentence can be written like, let's wait. This sentence can be written as like this: under the table is sitting a cat. Is sitting a cat. Now what I have done here, you can easily use helping verb before the subject, and this the same of the meaning of the second sentence will be the same, but there are two ways to make the sentence correct. So a cat was sitting under the table, you can easily say under the table is sitting a cat. Now you might be thinking, sir, are you asking a question? Not, this is not the interrogative sentence, this is your affirmative sentence, whereas simple structure will be followed: subject, verb. This is your normal point of view. But when verb or helping verb comes before any subject, is your inversion in English. Inversion in English. Now come to this point of view. If we want to hide or remove if, so you can make the sentence like this. You need to use had before any subject. Then V3 will be used, right? And the second sentence will be same. This can also be written like this. So I am going to jot down a sentence for you. Had I told you, had I told you, you would you would have come to me. You would have come to me. The sentence has no error. The sentence is clear, correct here. Had I told you, and the second sentence is what? You would have come to me. This will become remain, right? Same. Now come to this point of view, you need to find the error part if any. Question. Have she come on time? She would have met her. This is your A option, B option, C option, or last is no error. Tell me where is the mistake, error part. Tell me fast. Where is the error part? Very good. As everyone knows, the sentence will not be started with has or have. It needs to be started with had, because would have plus V3 has been used. Very good. Very good. Shall we move on? This was the rule number 4. I think you have got the point. We're gonna wrap up this topic today. There are only 2 or 3 rules left, right? Then we will be, discussing the PDF, the question related to PDF. All the question will be there, related to all, this topic here. Next, rule number 5 or 6. Again, your sentence starts with if. Subject will be used by you. But come to this point of view, if V2 has been given, means past indefinite has been given, in the main clause, would plus V1 will be used. Note down this point of view as well. If your sentence starts with if and V2 has been given over there, in the main clause, would plus V1 will be used. Now come to this point of view. Question number 1. If he came on time, he came on time, he would meet me. If he came on time, he would meet me. Question number 2. If he smoked less, we can save him. If he smoked less, we can save him. Point number 3 is, to succeed, if you labored hard. Question number 4. If Ravindra speaking, wait for a while. If Ravindra would practice, he would win the race. Win the race. Only 4 questions are there. If he came on time, now you can see here I have used V2. Came is what? V2 of come. If he came on time, he would meet me. It means he did not come on time and he could not meet me. Now he is regretting for that. This is also the same rule of rule number 4, where the structures are different here. Now come to this point of view. If I have used V2 here, then would plus V1 will be used. The sentence has no error. If he came on time, he would meet. Right? Getting my point? Question number 2. Tell me fast. If he smoked less, we can save him. Is the sentence correct? Actually, he did not smoke less. That is why we were unable to save him. Smoked is what? V2. This is the present word. The past of can is could. Even though you can use could or would as well, but would will be given the priority. Would will be given the priority because the structure has been written like would plus V1 will be used. But as everyone knows, the past of can is could. The past of will is would. The past of may is might. So these can also be used if would has not been given in the option. Come to the point. If would has not been given in the option, like this question has been asked in sentence improvement and would is not over there, then you have a choice to use what? Would or might. Right? Question number 3 is what? You succeed if you labored hard. If is here, labored is what? V2. We need to use would succeed. If you labored hard, you would succeed. Question number 4 is, if Ravindra would practice, he would win the race. Tell me fast. Would, two words will not work in a sentence if the sentence is conditional sentence, right? One word will be eradicated from here. Which one? Tell me fast. First. And this one becomes your practiced. Practiced. Now you're gonna let me know what is the difference between this word practice or this one practice. Does anybody know? C or S? Tell me fast. This C means what? This is acting like a noun. And S stands for a verb. Whereas in the same case, advise or advise. Advise or advise. If you talk about this point of view, C, this is your noun. But we talk about S, this is your verb. Note down the important points. Omit word. Very good. Just wait for a while. We're gonna discuss the PDF, right, of this topic. Then you're gonna comment. Very good, everyone. Shall we move on to the rule number 6? Okay, does anybody know? Can we make this sentence into inversion? Can anybody tell me? Can we make this sentence into inversion or not? We can't. Why? Because there is no helping verb given. Right? In the rule number 4, there was had. Then had was before the subject. The subject was after the had, means helping verb. Next, the last rule is rule number 6. Your sentence starts with but for. And you need to use noun or pronoun. Noun or noun. Now come to this point of view. If your sentence starts with if, then you need to use noun or pronoun. Then can in the main clause subject plus would plus have, one will be used. Note down this point of view. If your sentence starts with but for, you need to use noun. You know, this is a phrase, but for. But for means without. But for means with. Question number 1 is but for your support. but for your support, we would have lost T20 match. 20. Question number two is but for her help, we would save many lives. Many lives. Sorry, sir. We would not, wouldn't. We wouldn't save many lives. We wouldn't save many lives. Verb and noun. These topic will be taught very soon, right? Tell me the question number one is correct or not? Yes. But for has been used means without, and your support is your noun. Now come to this point of view. Without your support, we would have lost T20 match. Is the sentence correct or not? Correct or not? Very good. Have, would, lost. Question number two. But for her help. Without her help, we would not save many lives. We would not have saved many lives, which we saved, right? So the sentence can be both in positive or negative. The main clause. The last point of view is if your sentence made up with before, right? We need to follow this rule. Add plus V3, or in the main clause or in the second sentence we need to go for V2. But if your sentence starts with will have plus V3, will have plus V3, then in the main clause V1 or V5 will be used. Come to this point of view. This sentence is in your past. This is in future. Before will be acting as a conjunction here, where before will be connecting two sentences, this sentence and this sentence as well. If I just write down a sentence for you, then you will understand what it is all about. The train had departed before I reached the railway station. The railway station. This all clear to you? The train had departed before I reached the railway station. Or you can say the train had left the platform. The platform before I reached the railway station. Question number two, you might have heard this sentence or read this sentence so many times. The patient had died before what? Before the doctor came or reached, came, reached, whatever verb can be used, or arrived. But when you want to make the sentence into future, so you can make by using this structure here. My mother will have prepared, my mother will have prepared food before I reached home. Before I reached home. The sentence correct or not? Question number 3. Oops. Come to this point of view. If before is coming in the middle of the sentence, then you need to go for the structures which have been used. Had plus V3 has been used, which is correct here. But in the second sentence, the second sentence must be in past V. Sentence has no error. The train had departed before I reached this railway station. The sentence is correct. Question number 2. The patient had died before the doctor came. Before is coming. Had plus died means V3 is coming. This one is correct. And came, reached, arrived is also correct one. But in the question number 3, my mother will have prepared food before I reached home. Is the sentence correct? Now the sentence is in future. You have already used will have plus V3, which is your, structure says. This one is correct, but sentence is not correct here. Why? We need to use V1 or V. Then I used to use I reach. So this is all over here. Now we're gonna discuss the questions related to conditional sentence and how the question will be asked you in your examination will be taught you. Now I just give you only 5 minutes. I just give you only 5 minutes to recall all the rules here. 5 minutes only. Just recall all the rules. Just go cram, go through the rules here. Everyone, please go through the rules. And who haven't taken the very first class of conditional sentence, just make sure that you take someone's copy and note down all the rules. Till then, I'm gonna show you the PDF here, right? Does anybody know how to scan? Telegram here. Scanner is not here. Go to the setting. Very good. Conditional sentence. So these were the rules which I taught you in the class. If you are using present indefinite tense, then you need to use future indefinite tense. So this is a page here, right? And we're gonna start with the questions. Question number one. Come to this point of view. Find the error part. If I was the PM of India, I would eradicate poverty. Do you find any error? Tell me fast. Yes. Where's the error part? Yes. If I were the PM of India, because this sentence is your suppositional sentence, imaginary sentence. So we need to use were, whether we are using I, you, we, he, they, he, should, name. But in the main clause, would plus V1 will be used. Question number two. Question number two is very important. This has been asked in UPSC NDA 2023. She wouldn't have has an accident if she had driven carefully. Just focus on if, where if has been given here. Now had plus had been given means had plus V3 has been given. Now in the main clause, what to use? Would have plus V3, right? In the main clause. This, I guess this is the rule number 4. If your sentence starts with if, then had plus V3 will be used. But in the main clause, would have plus V3. Now, would has been come here, have also, but this is not the V3. V3 must be had. So she wouldn't have had an accident if she had driven carefully. Okay, question number 3 is rule number 1. Rule number 1, which I just taught you in the last class, UPSC NDA 2023 again. I will watch film if I finish the work in time. Tell me fast if there any error in the sentence. There any error in the sentence? And I hope that you guys are noting down everything, right? There are not the answers in this PDF, so you will not find. Okay, come to this point of view. If is here, it is coming, then finish is V1. So the rule number 1 says if your sentence starts with if, then V1 or V5 can be used. And in the main clause, will or shall can be used. This is your main clause. Will has been come. The sentence has. Question number 4 is if has been given here. If I has been given, were has been given, this means this is your imaginary sentence or suppositional sentence. If I were in your place, do I need to use should? I need to use. Question number 5 is suppose if you were left alone to live on a deserted island, what would you do? Now you can see were has been used, would has been used. So do you find any error? Very good. This is your superfluous expression. which I have taught you in the last class, I guess last to last class. You can't use suppose or if together. These are in the same meaning. So we need to cross this point of view. So you can start your sentence with, if you were left alone to live on a deserted island, what would you do? Question asked in 2013. Question number 7, CPO Tier 2 2021. A sentence does not consist two wills if the sentence is in conditional sentence. Which will should be removed? First or second? First or second? Did I teach you the words related to if? Alternative of ifs. Until, unless, when, provided, in case. These were the alternatives of if. Let's suppose this is if has been written, then will not be the right answer. So what you have to do is, you don't have to do research over there on a particular sentence of error detection. What you have to do is, you need to go through all the key points when you will be taking your examination. What others do, what other students do when they just take their examination, they just start translating the meaning of the sentence in their mind, and they just find, okay, I think there is a mistake point, right? There is an error, A option, B option, C option, and they just choose any random option over there. Even they don't know the reason why they are choosing the option B or C. But you don't have to go for that. Now just come to this point. If you know all the rules, only 6 to 7 rules are there. If you know all the rules, what you will do? Okay, sir taught us we don't have to use will twice in a sentence, right? You will not, read out the sentence, or you will not translate in your mind. What you will do? We don't have to use will twice in a sentence. If is coming or unless is coming, we don't have to use will this point of view. So you will mark at your option number C, where you know the reason behind it, why you have chosen option number C, right? Question number 8, if she had contacted him every day on phone, she helped him. Tell me fast. If is coming, had plus V3, then in the main clause, would have plus V3. Don't forget this rule. Had plus V3 is coming. In the main clause, would have plus V3. Where has been would have gone? We need to add would have, or helped is already given over there. So the sentence has means in the D part. Question number 9. Tell me fast, UPSC ND again. Tell me fast, tell me. Your sentence starts with if you were. Were is your suppositional sentence. Like, do you need to use will? When the sentence is in past, the second sentence must be in past. The past of will is so simple. Actually, I don't know why the students do like that. They're just translating the things in in exams. Let's listen to me. Once you come across a difficult sum in your examination, like we are talking about mathematics, why you are researching over there on that day, that is spam of time. You are losing yourself. If you try to solve any the question which is out of the box, if you have already done that type of questions, just go first, then you will definitely get your right answer within 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. But if you haven't solved that question before, is there any possibility that you will definitely get your right answer over there? No. You are just wasting your time, and you will lose your marks over there. Not even marks, you are losing your 1 year. You are losing your 1 year. As everyone knows, this is a cycle which comes yearly. you are preparing for CGL, CPO, or MTS, or any one day competitive examination, just think about it. Question number 10. If I was knowing, I have used would have plus V3, right? If in the main clause would have plus V3 has been used, in the if clause had plus V3 should have been used. So if I had known. Don't you understand this? If I had known why he was absent, I would. Question number 11. Tell me fast. So Chitra says that she will take her umbrella in case it will. Both the wills will not be allowed. Tell me which one is incorrect. Second or first? Second. Very good. Question number 14. Come to the point. Question number 14. Had he not reached in time, he will have missed a golden opportunity which comes once a while. Once a while. Again, the rule number 4 has been applied. If the sentence starts with if, had plus V3 is coming, then in the main clause, would have plus V3. But I just taught you, this can also be made in inversion. When if you don't want to use if, then start your sentence with had, then subject, then V3. This one is correct. But in the main clause, will has been given, which is a show word. This will be replaced with would. Sentence is correct here. Question number 15. If I was the king, not I was, I were the king. Not where. Where is this? This is were. Question number 16. If Mahatma Gandhi were, not was, because this is all also your imaginary or suppositional sentence. Would, then V1 has been used. Question number 17 has been asked in SSC CPO Tier 2 2021. If you will search his pockets, you will surely find your watch. Tell me the right answer. Two wills will not be used. One will has to be removed. Which one? Which is used after if. Sentence is correct. Question number 11. Tell me fast the reason. If I would, I just taught you, if does not like three words. Will, shall, would. So the sentence, the error part is here. But in the next, would plus V1 is coming means if I were a millionaire. If I were a millionaire means I am supposing the things. If I were a millionaire, I would not be wasting my time waiting for a bus. But I am not a millionaire. I am just waiting for the bus. Question number 12. If I were in his shoes, I would die with shame. Sentence correct or not? If I were is correct. Would is also correct. V1 is also correct. The sentence has no error. If I were in your shoes means if I were in your place, I would die with shame. Means you have done something wrong on which you did not regret. Question number 13 is what? If the bus hadn't had, if is coming here, had plus V3 is coming, but in the main clause, will be replaced with would been. Would have been. Why I have used have been? Because the sentence has had plus V3. If the sentence starts with had plus V3, the main clause would have plus V3 will be used. Then we would have been. Even though you don't have to write down the correct answers over there. You just need to find the error part. So this is your error part. This is your error part. This is your error part. Right? But when you will be taking your mains examination, na, then you need to know all the rules. Prelims is somehow you can crack this exam, but when it comes to mains examination, then you will realize all the rules. if I if I had studied hard, I would have cracked mains as well. Question number 14. If I was him, not I was, if I were he, sorry, not him. If I were he, I would not accept this CPUSS. Question number 15. If I were, I would change face of my country. Question number 16. Tell me anyone. Rule number 5 or 6, I guess. If I lived in a countryside, I could be much healthier. I just taught you. If your sentence starts with V2, we need to use would. Don't we? First priority must be given to would. If the would is not over there, then could can also be the right answer. But the answer of this question is would. Even though sentence has no error, but somehow examiners in the key after in the answer key, the answer was would. Question number 17 is very good question. Had I realized means the sentence starts with had plus V3. In the main clause, would have plus V3. Do you find would have plus V3? So I would not have interrupted you so often. SSC CPO tier 1. Unless you don't. Now come to this point of view. Until or unless are two negative words. Come to the point. You just need to jot down these important points. Unless or until are negative words. They do not require negative word again. I guess this rule has not been taught by me because this is the rule of conjunction. But you have to keep in your mind, if your sentence starts with until unless, note down until or unless. Never use not, don't, will, won't, doesn't, never, or these words will not be used because both the words are negative. We don't have to use negative word again. If you remove don't, sentence becomes correct. Unless you give up bad habits, you will suffer. Question number 22 has been asked in banking examination. Does anybody know the right answer? If the ozone gases of the atmosphere did not filter out the ultraviolet rays of the sun, life as we know it would not have evolved on Earth. Now you would be translating the things. In between, a topper or the students who are going to be selected over there, what they will do? They will, correct their answer, mark their answer within 10 seconds. They will move on to the next question, where all those students will stuck here. Those who would be translating in their mind. Come to the point. The sentence has started with if. Conditional sentence is given. Ozone gases of the atmosphere is your subject. Have I taught you this rule before? Did not filter out. I did not. But don't focus on this point of view, just focus on the main clause. Main clauses not have a would have not. If would not have coming in the main clause, what should come in the if clause? Had not means had plus V3, right? Had plus V3. But this is your what past indefinite tense. It must have been replaced with had not filtered out. Filtered out. Had not filtered out. Right? Have you got my point? If you might be thinking, yeah, I know that. Sir, this is your V2, means past and definite tense. And you can change this sentence as well. If I would have passed, then you would use I pass. Sorry, I would. It would not have evolved on Earth. Now, how to change into would plus V1? Tell me fast. If the ozone gases of the atmosphere had not filtered out the ultraviolet rays of the sun, life as we know it would not have evolved on Earth. Now, when you will be reading this sentence, you will feel awkward when you will use would not evolve. That is why the sentence A part has an error. Yeah, come to the point. Who was asking something? Anything? The point of yours is also correct. Want to go for this point of view, but the answer was based on rule number 4, right? The answer has A section has A part has the error part. Question number 24, SSC CPO tier 2 again. If the police hasn't stopped us, we would have reached home by now. Would have plus V3 is coming, then we need to use had here. Why we are using has? Has is a present word. We need to use past word. Come to this point of view. There are so many questions. Question number 62. These are your sentence improvement questions. I would not have gone alone. Again, rule number 4 is being applied. If you dash the danger. You need to use had plus V3 here. Had plus V3. Had plus V3 is coming. No improvement will not be the right answer. Were told is coming. Had he been told is absolutely correct. Now you need to find. I would not have gone alone if you had told me of the danger or with the danger. Tell me of the danger. This question is based on preposition as well as conditional sentence. So had told me of the danger. This question has been asked in PSRB Chennai. Question number 61. Had he started 5 minutes earlier, Santosh would have reached in time. This sentence is also the rule number 4 where if has been removed. Tell me fast. Why the sentence is no error? Because had he started 5 minutes earlier, Santosh would have reached in time. If he starts will not be the right answer. If he would not be the right answer because he if does not like would, and if he had started is also correct here. There are clashing two rules, right? if he had started 5 minutes earlier, Santosh every time, or had he started, are correct here. Why this question? These options have been given over here. No improvement required, right? But we can also make the sentence by using this structure as well. If he had started 5 minutes earlier, Santosh would have reached in time. But if this question has been asked, the answer must be why. We can also make the sentence like this: had he started 5 minutes earlier. I think there must be a doubt over here. I am in a doubt because both the structure will never be given in the sentences, and the priority must be given to both the structures are correct. Is if he had started is also correct, had he started is also correct. Just come to this point of view, no improvement required, but the sentence has no error. But somehow if there is any mistake in the options given or in the question given, maybe this question has must be like this: has he started 5 minutes early, right? Then it must be the incorrect, and the answer must be if he had started. Not to worry, this is a doubts question. All these questions are based on these points. Question number 57. Only 2-3 questions will be taught, will be discussed. Question number 57. If you will work hard, you will always succeed. We never use twice will twice, right? Very good. Question number 6. Very good question. Question number 56. Tell me, if I am in your position, the sentence is in present, and whereas the next main clause, the sentence is in past. So this is the wrong arrangement. Sentence must be if I were will be the right answer. Yes. If I were in your position, I would not. Now come to this point of view. This sentence can be corrected by using if I were, or we can also use if I had been. Why can't you see here? Would have plus V3 been used, and in the main clause, had plus V3 will be used. So if I had been in your position, this one is also correct. If I were in your position, this one is also correct, because would then V1 has also been, right? Not to worry, both the structures are correct. And the last question, only last question, then last question. You will solve all these questions very easily if you cram all the rules. Question number 38. Tell me fast, what your cooperation for the organization of this workshop would not have been so smooth. Last question, answer, tell me fast. Anyone in the class? But your cooperation for the organization of this workshop would not have been so smooth. I just taught you the rule number 6, I guess. Whereas, but for is a phrase. They cannot be separated anymore. And I have, means in this question, both the words have been separated. So we need to make the sentence by using but for your cooperation. This sentence correct or not? But for your cooperation, the organization then would have plus been means verb ki B3 has been used. Okay, have you all got the points? So what you have to do is just take out the printout of this PDF. Just try to solve all the question by yourself. If you have any doubt, just take all the doubts, and I'm gonna tell you all the answers. Okay, bye bye to all of you. Meet you in the next class. See you. Bye bye. Good night as well. We'll be starting the new topic in the next class, right? So don't leave that class. Okay. Okay, bye bye, Mr. Prime. HA Tharor. Page. Okay. All the viewers. Sharang. Sharang. Okay. Bye bye. Kasom Vasi. Thank you. तो सो रहे थे पीछे